right, guys, we are going to discuss wide receivers for the 2021 fantasy football season. As always, I'm here with Kasey, Vlad to the Bone Scheinvold, and Ross the Boss. And guess what? It is my turn to do the top 10 list, and I'm very excited about wide receivers. I always loved them. It's always my favorite position, and I picked them a certain way. I'm ready for the arguments, so let's get to it. Number one, to me, is Tyreek Hill. He is the guy who is at that top level, still has the same quarterback situation. There's nothing changed. If anything, he's gotten stronger because the wide receiver core behind him is really nothing. Number two, I've got DK Metcalf of the Seattle Seahawks. Again, he is attached to an elite quarterback. He's only getting better. He's the fastest man in the NFL, I think. Maybe there's a couple who are slightly faster, but not by much. Third may surprise you guys, but it's Deandre Hopkins. Arizona Cardinals, he was the number one wide receiver, I think a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. He puts up big-time numbers. He's playing with Kyler Murray, so I think he's in a great spot. My number four also may surprise you, Mike Evans of Tampa Bay. Now, you may be wondering, but where's Davante Adams? Well, where's Aaron Rodgers is my question, so we're going to get to him. We're not there yet. If Aaron Rodgers is not on the field, Davante Adams is not Davante Adams. Mike Evans, on the other hand, is playing with Tom Brady. I have him at number four. People have a lot of questions about the Tennessee Titans and how good they're going to be now that Julio Jones is there. I think Julio Jones is going to be a great wide receiver, but what he's really going to do is make A.J. Brown even better. A.J. Brown is my number five. I debated him at number four, so hey, take me to task if you want to, but you will lose. Number six, Amari Cooper. Here's the thing. You got to remember, Dak Prescott is back. The Dallas Cowboys are going to put up huge numbers. So I have Amari Cooper over Davante Adams. If Aaron Rodgers came back, please do understand I would move Davante Adams up to number one immediately. Maybe two at worst. But I just don't see Aaron Rodgers coming back to that team. Number eight, Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings. This guy is in his second year. He put up big numbers in his first year. He's going to be huge. Number nine is Stephon Diggs, Buffalo Bills. We've got Josh Allen throwing to him. He's going to put up some big numbers as well. And number 10, Calvin Ridley. Julio Jones moving out. I think Calvin Ridley is going to put up some big points. So you've got two players in there that I think are playing on teams that don't have elite quarterbacks throwing to them, in Justin Jefferson and Calvin Ridley. But they're still going to put up big numbers, and now they are target hogs. That's what I got in my top 10. I will turn it over to Kasey and Ross to discuss sleepers, busts, and value picks. Kasey, let's start with you. Who are some of your sleepers? And if you want to weigh in on my list, please do.
I will weigh on. The only one I disagree with on your list is Amari Cooper, only because I actually think CeeDee Lamb is a better wide receiver in Dallas, and I think you might see him make that leap. I'd probably have Stephon Diggs higher on the list. If you look at the numbers he put up last year, they were impressive, and it was his first year with Josh Allen. I just think they're going to get better. But other than that, very solid list. I agree with Davante Adams. He's just, with the quarterback situation so uncertain, I can't put him all the way up there until we know if Aaron Rodgers is throwing to him. Okay, so I'm going to give you two sleepers. My first is Jerry Jeudy of the Denver Broncos. This guy, coming out of college, coming out of Alabama, was elite, still put up pretty good numbers in Denver last year, even though he had a lot of drops, which was uncommon for him throughout his career. He's got Cortland Sutton coming back this year, so there's going to be two really good wide receivers out of there. You can get him late, and he's potential for a breakout, especially if the aforementioned Aaron Rodgers decides to move on to Denver. Could you imagine that offense with Aaron Rodgers at the helm? That's one. My second one is Michael Pittman Jr. in Indianapolis. He was really good last year. If Carson Wentz can find some of the magic he had under Frank Reich, when Frank Reich was his quarterback's coach or his offensive coordinator, I forget what he was, Michael Pittman could put up big numbers. They have a great running game in Indianapolis, and I think Michael Pittman Jr. can benefit from that if Jonathan Taylor is showing that he was real in the way he ran the end of last year.
All right, Ross, we're going to hear from you on sleepers, but it sounded like you were about to say, Kasey, that Carson Wentz was going to reform. And I was like, did he get melted? What happened?
He could. He might need to.
He might need to reform. All right, Ross, let's talk sleepers. Wide receivers.
Let's talk sleepers, wide receivers. My first is Mr. Chase, who was drafted first round by the Cincinnati Bengals. He's reunited with his college quarterback, Joe Burrow, at LSU. They were unbelievable together. Chase is going to have a huge year in Cincinnati. You're going to be sorry you didn't take him in the draft when Ross the Boss steals him from you. You'll be upset. and you'll be begging me for mercy to have him on your team. Trust me on that one. The other one you mentioned, it's CeeDee Lamb. I think it's going to be a bigger year than Cooper. That's my prediction also. I agree. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have a big year, sophomore year, and having Prescott back, those two will be a great combination, probably an all-pro combination if Ross the Boss is right. And the last one is actually an Arizona State alumnus in his sophomore year. He played at San Francisco last year, and he's back, is Brandon Ayuk. And Ayuk is like a deep threat. This guy's unbelievable. I don't know if you guys watch highlight films on this guy. This guy's fast, great hands, and him and Samuel's they're going to have huge years in San Francisco, especially with Kittle coming back. You'll see a lot of passing being done in San Francisco. So those are my 3 sleepers, and I'm Ross the Boss.
All right, let's get into the busts. Who do you think is not going to turn out well?
My first one is Michael Thomas. This guy has been a stud for the past few years in New Orleans, but now he's going to try to do it without Drew Brees. I think his reputation is going to get him drafted very high, and he is a super talented wide receiver. There's no doubt about it. But can you truly trust Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill to be a reliable quarterback week in and week out to get Michael Thomas the numbers? That's one. And the other one is Terry McLaurin in Washington. Again, another place where the quarterback situation is just an unknown. They're a great defense. I could see them being a run and just pound and ground or ground and pound, whatever it's called, offense, where they don't take many shots down the field. And as such, Terry McLaurin, who's been a number 1 receiver, will not be as successful as he's been in the past.
Ross, do you agree or you have others?
I have others. I mean, I agree with Kasey 100%. He had some great picks there, but I have to have my own list. I'm not going to just say, I just agree with Kasey. I'm not that guy.
All right, go ahead.
What the hell are you guys talking about here? My first one, this guy's been like money every year, but this year I think is going to have a down year, is Adam Thielen. Thank you. Thielen of the Minnesota Vikings. I feel Adam is just, I think he's on the down road path. I don't think he'll have the numbers he had last year or the year before. I just feel with Jefferson moving up in the chain, and they have some new weapons they brought in also, I think Adam might be in trouble this year. I don't think we'll see the production like he always has. And I hate to say it because I know you're a big Browns fan, but Jarvis Landry, I think, is not going to have the year he had last year either. I think his production will go down tremendously too. The Browns have brought in some new weapons, and Peoples going up. Peoples is up there, the Michigan grad. He'll have a big year, and also the receiver that was hurt last year. What was his name?
Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham Jr. He's back. So production for Landry is going to be way down. And I also love Hooper too. So those are my 2 guys that you should not draft this year.
Listen, I'm just going to say it, Ross. I actually completely agree with you on the Browns receiving core. It's going to be so spread around. Also, Odell Beckham Jr. really throws everything off. You just don't know what's going on.
I don't know if he's going to be the Odell Beckham from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, or the Odell Beckham last year, who was when he kind of got hurt and he wasn't in the play system. They were better.
Yep. We don't know if he's going to be the Odell from 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, or 8 years ago. We'll see. All right, Kasey, take us into value picks. Now, let's remember what value picks are. They're different than sleeper picks. Sleeper picks are those ones that nobody's really talking about all that much and could explode. The value picks are just ones that you can get later in the draft than we think the value should hold. Kasey, take it away.
Yeah, my first one is Cooper Kupp in Los Angeles. He's got a new quarterback in Matt Stafford, but he's notoriously well known for being one of the best route runners in the NFL. He's got great hands. He always puts up solid numbers, but because of all of these other flashier names that are getting all the press, he tends to slip into the later rounds, and you can get a really solid, really good receiver. Ross had mentioned Adam Thielen, and I think Adam Thielen's peak is a good ceiling for what you can expect for somebody like Cooper Kupp, and you can get that later in the draft. And I was deciding between 2, but I'm going to go with Juju Smith-Schuster. He had a rough year last year. His sophomore season was one of the best, I think, of any wide receiver sophomore season ever. And it's not like he forgot how to play the position. He had a bad year. And because of that and the rise of Claypool, he's getting forgotten just in the Pittsburgh wide receiver core, not to mention in fantasy drafts all around the world. And so he's another one you can get late who's already proven that he can put up really, really solid numbers and help you as a wide receiver 2 or even a wide receiver 3 if he slips far enough.
All right, Ross, your turn.
So my first one value pick that no one's talking about. He plays in Miami. He's a rookie. Went to Alabama, not a bad school. He missed a bunch of games though last season. He was hurt. Is Jalen Waddle? Jalen Waddle, if he was healthy last year, he would have been like maybe the top pick last year in the draft. I mean, he is a weapon. He's fast. He'll return punts. He's going to be there for the long ball. Waddle is going to have a huge year, over 1,000 yards. You heard me first, Ross the Boss. I love this kid, and he's healthy and he's ready to roll. The other one plays in Carolina, and you're saying, God, you're taking a guy that has Sam Donald as your quarterback. Yeah, DJ Moore. He's the one receiver in North Carolina. And I learned something is you always want to get that number one receiver, even if you know he's on a bad quarterback team like Donald. I feel that he'll still have big numbers. I mean, he's going to be the number one quarterback and number one receiver. He'll get the ball. He'll be thought of like in third down all the time. And Carolina is going to be down a lot of the games, so they'll be throwing the ball. So DJ Moore could be a good pickup for you.
Okay, great picks, guys. I did want to mention, Kasey just briefly mentioned Chase Claypool. I think the reason I didn't mention him is I just think he's appropriately rated. I don't think he's in the top 10. I think he's a very good receiver, but I don't see him as a bust. I don't see him as a sleeper. I don't see him as a value pick. I just think he's appropriately rated. Guys, great job on this. We're going to see what our fans think about this. We want to hear from you. So if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below, and we will get back to you personally.